Hey everyone, welcome to The Explainer. So, today we're investigating a seriously frustrating mystery in the world of off-grid tech. If you've ever meticulously built a solar-powered or battery-backed gaming setup, only to have the whole thing crash completely out of nowhere, well, you are absolutely in the right place. We're going to figure out exactly why these setups suddenly die, and more importantly, how to fix them. Picture this. You're deep into an incredibly intense game. You're exploring this massive open world, the ray tracing looks absolutely incredible, and right as you enter the boss fight, boom, everything goes black. Your off-grid inverter just died. Your battery has plenty of charge, your gear is basically brand new, so what just happened? Okay, let's dive into this, because the real culprit, it's probably not what you think. And here's where the immense frustration really kicks in. Look at these specs. Your gaming PC averages around 500 watts of power draw. Your inverter, it's rated to handle a continuous load of 1,000 watts. On paper, you've got double the capacity you need, right? So there's this massive disconnect between a seemingly safe mathematical average and the total shutdown you just experienced. We've really got to look past those marketing numbers.
Section 1. The illusion of averages. Let's see why watts can actually mislead you.
So, when sizing a system, people usually focus on what a basic watt meter shows. You know, a steady, continuous average while you're playing. But what actually determines if your system stays humming or crashes you into the dark are the hidden instantaneous demands. We're talking millisecond spikes, the very limits of an inverter's surge capacity, and the heavy DC current being pulled from your batteries. See, electronics, they just don't behave in averages.
When you see that safe 500-watt reading on your meter, it gives you a deeply false sense of security. Modern graphics cards are incredibly dynamic. Literally, 1 second they're rendering a boring static game menu, and the very next millisecond they're processing complex shader compilations, insane particle effects, ray tracing transitions, the whole shebang. That 500-watt number is just an aggregate. It's kind of like a smoothed-out lie masking the absolute chaos underneath.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how that transient spike absolutely towers over the average load. Power demand from a GPU changes infinitely faster than any standard digital meter can even refresh. I mean, by the time your screen transitions from a dark hallway to a massive bright explosion, your power draw has violently spiked and returned to normal, completely unnoticed by your basic watt meter.
These hidden mountains of power demand actually have a name. They're called transient loads. Basically, they're extremely short-duration power spikes that occur when a GPU rapidly changes its workload. We are talking about bursts that last mere milliseconds. Blink and you miss it. But despite their incredibly short duration, these bursts stress your entire off-grid system well beyond its continuous rating, because they demand all that power right now, no delays.
Moving on to Section 2, the weakest link. We're tracing the power. Okay, let's follow the chain reaction here. Step 1, the GPU suddenly demands massive power for a complex scene. Step 2, your PC's power supply instantly pulls that power from the inverter. Step 3, the inverter instantly tries to pull that power from the battery. And finally, Step 4, that massive rush of current has to successfully flow through your cables. Every single one of these physical components has a hard, uncompromising limit. If just one tiny link in this chain can't handle the millisecond rush, yep, the whole system drops.
Let's actually peek inside the inverter during one of these violent transient spikes. The inverter isn't magic, right? It relies on very specific physical components to do its job. We're looking at switching transistors, capacitors, highly sensitive protection circuits. When that transient spike hits, it demands an immediate flood of energy. If the demand exceeds what those internal capacitors can instantly deliver, or what the transistors can handle, well, the internal protection circuits trip. They interpret this massive sudden spike as a dangerous short circuit, and they instantly shut the inverter down, just to save themselves.
Section 3. The voltage drop trap. Let's look at battery side failures.
Often, the inverter isn't tripping because of the AC load itself, it's what's happening on the battery side. To really grasp this, we have to look at a foundational rule of electrical math. Power equals voltage multiplied by current, or P equals V times I. Since the total power required by your PC stays the same, if your battery voltage is low, the current, meaning the sheer volume of electricity being pulled through your wires, has to be incredibly high to compensate. So, a high AC load creates a massive, and sometimes frankly dangerous, DC current demand. 55.6 amps. Guys, that is a melt your wires, if you're not careful, amount of current for what seems like a totally modest setup. Just to put that into perspective, most standard household wall outlets max out at like 15 amps. So where does 55.6 amps even come from? Well, if you have a 600-watt gaming load on a standard 12-volt off-grid battery, factoring in about a 90% inverter efficiency, 600 divided by 12 times 0.9 equals roughly 55.6 amps of DC current. That's essentially a fire hose of electricity suddenly surging through your battery cables.
And this massive surge of current creates a pretty brutal domino effect. Let's walk through it. First, that high 55 amp current is drawn from the battery. Second, because batteries naturally have internal resistance, pulling that much current causes the battery's voltage to instantly sag. Third, remember our power formula? Because the voltage just dropped, the inverter now has to demand even more current to maintain the same power output to your PC. It's a crazy feedback loop that spirals until, step 4, the inverter detects the voltage has dropped way too low, panics, and triggers a shutdown. The inverter basically thinks your battery is dead, but actually, it's just sagging under the massive weight of the current.
Now add the cables into this equation with the formula for resistive losses. Power loss equals current squared times resistance. The absolute crucial point here is the squared part. If you double the amount of current flowing through a cable, you don't just double the heat. No, you increase the heating and power loss by 4 times. This is exactly why undersized cables are a massive hidden bottleneck and honestly a severe fire hazard. Your cables might literally be burning up that transient energy before it ever even reaches the inverter. Beyond just the cables, there are some other hidden culprits lurking in your setup. Thin battery cables and loose connections, they both add resistance, increasing heat and voltage drop. A small, weak battery bank will sag much faster under load. And this is a big one. If you're using modern lithium iron phosphate or LiFePO4 batteries, they have internal brains called battery management systems, or BMS. If that transient GPU spike pulls a current that exceeds the hard limit programmed into that BMS, the battery will instantly cut its own power to protect itself. Your inverter doesn't even get a chance to complain, it just loses power completely.
Which brings us to section 4, designing for the extremes. How to build a spike-proof setup.
So, how do we actually fix this? Well, the ultimate solution lies in managing that current. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly what we need to do. If a 12-volt system represents your baseline current, like that massive 55 amps we talked about earlier, upgrading your battery bank and inverter to a 24-volt system instantly cuts that current in half. Bump it up to a 48-volt system, and the current is reduced down to a quarter of the baseline. By raising the voltage, you drastically lower the current. And lower current means almost no voltage sag, zero overheating in your cables, and an inverter that gets smooth, stable power no matter what your GPU is throwing at it.
But regardless of your voltage, you absolutely must implement these crucial safety upgrades. This is where theory meets reality, folks. You must use correctly sized, thick cables to handle those surge currents. You've got to install high-quality fuses as close to the battery terminals as physically possible. Make sure every single terminal connection is bolted down incredibly tight to eliminate any extra resistance. And please, never ever exceed the manufacturer's true equipment ratings. These aren't just handy tips for a stable gaming session. These are absolutely vital safety practices to prevent literal fire hazards in your home or RV.
The crucial takeaway from this whole explainer is pretty simple. Average power is really only part of the story. You have to size your system for the extremes. Understanding transient loads, accounting for voltage sag, and actually knowing your hardware's true surge limits. That's the only real way to build a setup you can rely on.
I want to leave you with this final thought to investigate for yourself. Take a really close look at your own off-grid setup. Check out your cables, your battery voltage, and those inverter specs. And ask yourself, is your system merely built for the average, or is it truly ready for the spike? Thanks for hanging out with me for this explainer. See you next time.